Welcome back, or welcome in general, your host, the Shy Guy. Today we are on episode 21. Big number. Considering how long I've been doing this for, that's crazy. Episode 21, Maharaja Night, Hi-NRG Revolution Volume 1. That's also a long title for a Eurobeat series. But as opposed to Maharaja Night's Volume Insert Your Number, which are all just basic non-stop mixes, hence why I haven't really reviewed them, though I have listened to the first volume, non-stop mix, which is quite quite the something, considering I don't think it has much Eurobeat in it. It's mostly just Italo disco or disco in general. The Maharaja Night Hi-NRG Revolution series would obviously be much more worth reviewing, as it does contain, your Italo disco / Eurobeat. Yeah. Well, thinking about reality a little bit too much these days. Brief introduction about the series. KickStart EuroStar Beats is series 1 on the blogging series of the Shy Guy reviewing Eurobeat. Here's how I'll be reviewing it. It's a 0 to 5 stars ratio, no half stars on how vibrant it can get, plus additional comments on how the album is in general, etc, etc, etc. Also, depending on how long the series is or how many songs are in that album, I might be obliged to review more than one album in a video, so that we can really defy or encourage you to take this path into Eurobeat. Introduction on the series. Date released of Volume 1 is the 23rd of April 1992. So, round about the same time as sort of Super Eurobeat Volume 1 was released. I think that was in 1990 or 1991. Don't know why the Maharaja Night series doesn't get talked about more often though. How far has the series run on from? 24 volumes, but 27 really. Since Volume 25, they've been renamed to Maharaja Night Eurofire, Volume 25, Eurofire Volume 26, and Eurofire Volume 27. I have absolutely no idea why or how this even happened, but they did. And how popular do I think this series is? Well, actually, saying that, I think it is a very popular series in terms of everyone. I feel like the majority of the Eurobeat community is going to know Maharaja Night. What I don't think is that many people in the scene would know that Maharaja Night is actually sort of a club in the Roppongi district of Japan. Tokyo, I want to say. I'd like to personally go myself. I think it's really coincide, and I've never really been introduced much to this whole clubbing scene. I'm not really sure what clubbing is like in Britain, let alone Scotland specifically, but I wouldn't really mind going to the Maharaja Night club in the Roppongi district of Tokyo. But as far as I'm aware of, after following their Instagram pages, they don't really do many Eurobeat nights. It's mostly just 80s, 90s, like Western music disco, which maybe is what the Japanese probably prefer over the Italians making music for them. Who's to say? I'll probably throw up a few links in the descriptions if you really wanted to get involved in the Eurobeat scene as to, planning your trip to Japan in order for you to know where and when you want to go, and, what does Japan have to offer for the Eurobeat side. I think someone else posted on Instagram, on this new user I found, she was posting that there was a train rave party that was going to happen, so it was going to be a train going from, point A to point B, playing rave music, and I think coincidentally enough it was going to be Eurobeat as well. Again, I will post links down in the description for that, because we're not going to gatekeep, if anything. And we shouldn't gatekeep, if anything. If we want to help keep Eurobeat alive, then we need to be doing our part in, sharing the information as to what Eurobeat venues are going on and around. Because, we just need to be doing that. There's obviously a few others I want to talk about as for like 2026. However, again, I'll probably just put the links down in the description for that. There's stuff about like Dave Rogers coming to Germany apparently for an an anime con. I think Mega Energy Man is going to do a tour in Japan as well, as opposed to, GO2's just done one. And so has Brett Sinclair with Nico and Natalie, and so forth, so forth. But yeah, no, Maharaja Night is quite well known, whether or not you listen to the series predominantly or whether you're following, your favourite artists and you see the cover art as thumbnails on YouTube as a video. I know for a fact when I'm listening to Gino, some parts of Gianni, mostly Fernando, the Maharaja Night covers are in my playlists as opposed to like if I was actually listening to the series. So that's how I know they exist. Any facts or general sound just of the album? No, I can't think of any at the moment. You know it's Maharaja Night when it comes on though, as opposed to, Super Eurobeat series. When you hear one song blindfolded, you'll be able. There's a distinctive sound, even though they're made by like Time Records and ABC. But there's a distinctive sound to know whether it belongs to SEB or Maharaja Night. I don't know what it is exactly, but I know there's a very soft sound. I think it's the disco elements, but that might just be me being silly and just saying random shit as usual. Ratings of the songs discuss who sung it, labels maybe, any notes, star rating, and let's just get into this. Starting off, we have track number 1 with Edo, You Really Got Me, Dance Mix, 2 stars out of 5, by a label called Double Records, but records spelled and shortened to REC, so double rec dot. Gino gets the first song in this whole series of 27 volumes. That's something. God bless his soul, and all that said during the Vibration episode. Now, for me, this is an important moment. This is the first song for a long and famous series in the Eurobeat genre. Will it hold up? Well, for someone who gave it 2 stars out of 5, you'd think not, but it does. It's just not one of my favourite songs by Gino. And I suppose if it did come on, maybe I would skip it, and if it did come on, maybe I'd listen to it, because I can easily forget what this song sounds like. Well, his alias Edo is just not really one of my particular favourites, mostly in the Italo disco side. That's not to say I don't like Italo disco, please do not do that, but Edo is not really one of my favourites aliases by Gino. But why though would I say that the song is good that I personally don't like it? The intro is the first. Of course. But it's got that disco vibe. Late 1980s to early 1990s theme. And that's all. Sure, if I was in the Maharaja Night, club in the Roppongi district, I dance to the song regardless because there's nothing much else to do with this song. And what else do you do in a club? You drink, you dance, you chat up, I guess. I don't know. Your fellow Shy Guy host is probably what you might call a hermit from time to time. Because, I don't know, it's a hermit. But I dance to the song regardless because there's nothing much else to the song that makes it a wowzers for me to want to listen to repeats. But again, with the rich disco vibes, you can tell why this would be in the Maharaja Night volume series, as opposed to SEB series. You Really Got Me, Are You Ready For Me? Gino does have me, but just not right now with this song. Track number 2, High Frequency, Hot Summer Nights, Extended Mix, 3 stars out of 5. Clara Mooney and what's her face? I'm not going to take a shot in the dark at pronouncing that. It's going to be Morena, which is one of my favourite aliases by her. Morena. Both of them being at Time Records. Be my lover during these hot summer nights. What more could you ask for? Feels like a title to a vaporwave track. Yeah, that's the first. Yeah. Late night vaporwave is 80s, 90s sound, so yeah, makes sense. The first bridge in the song really is something. A lot more upbeat as opposed to the first song within this volume, but that's what Maharaja Night really is all about. But do you know what else is good? This duo. This sort of duet between two sort of deep female vocalists, if anything. Though Clara Moroni is not always deep with her voice, Morena definitely is, if anything. But unfortunately, you know what lacks a little? The chorus. And you know why? The shy guy always complaining about the tonal shift, said with quotation marks. But see, either way, I'm not gonna care. If I was in the prime time of the last century, heading towards the new millennium, I'd be wanting to play this song in a JDM car, dreaming about a lover of a man. Those who do probably follow the page quite closely would know maybe exactly who I would be talking about, but we won't be talking about him today. And the last thing I want to add is, it's nice to hear Morena again, the alias I know her for, and next to Clara, if you know, you'll know what I'm on about, but for those who don't, the alias of Leslie Parrish, which is mostly known for Clara Moroni, Morena had one track in it, and honest to God, because both of them sound a little bit similar to each other, you'd think that Heart of Stone by Leslie Parrish was by Clara Moroni. Slightly, only slightly. Which is something I get confused on a regular basis, but it's not. It's Morena, not Clara Moroni. But hearing them together is like hearing Dave Rogers and Bigger Energy Man in Night Fever. It is hard to tell unless you really got your ears trained as to, how to recognize a Eurobeat artist when you're blindfolded. Track number 3, David Essex, Victim of Love, extended version, 4 stars out of 5. Maurizio De Giorgio, 8-beat C. Maybe I ought to leave Mandy Energy's review instead of mine, because she described it better, though our opinions are similar. But that's fine, because she's an inspiration to this channel as it is. This is a song that is beautiful from beginning to end. From the intro of the itty-bitty vocal segment of Maurizio to the impossible bridge, this song is an unknown tearjerker, in my opinion. For all you Initial D folks moaning on about heartbreak, and there not being enough songs to really emphasize that whilst wanting to race, I feel like this would be the song for you. Yes, I have driven to the song. Yes, I do push my car a little bit to the limit sometimes in corners, but obviously still within staying in the speed limit, so, I'm not doing 75 for corners. The speed limit is 60, and we'll see how far, if we can go through 60 for some of these corners. Couldn't tell you about the heartbreak, though, because that's not happened just yet, and hope to God it doesn't, if anything. Whilst it's not a fast song for racing, you can still drive to it. The melody, the vocals, the atmosphere, they'll all slide with you as you probably hit a corner too fast. As long as you don't end up dying in the process, as long as you can recover. But I do not encourage you to do reckless driving. I don't want to do reckless driving myself. I'm not wanting to be all this big drifting pro and stuff like that, but I do not encourage reckless driving at all, and I wouldn't encourage it at all. Yeah, the script says, poor car, poor Boris, that's his name. Little Skoda City Go. If you follow my Instagram, you would know a lot about Boris. I just wish that Maurizio did more songs like this. D Essex is good as an alias, and you do have Casanova, but David Essex is a lot more melodic than Casanova. Casanova is more about his lyrics as opposed to the melody. But nothing beats this track, if anything. Personally, it's a favourite of mine when it comes to Maurizio De Giulio. And if anything, I think Mandy says in her review that this is one of Maurizio De Giulio's favourite tracks that he produced. So, what more do you want me to say for this? Track number 4, Norma Sheffield, Look Me in the Eyes, Club Mix, 2 stars out of 5. Chiara De Peri, 8BC, and now, as usual, I do go on about Norma Sheffield and how she's a hit or miss in the community because of the way she sings and the way that the melody flows with her voice, as to why it's not really proper Eurobeat, as some may comment, even though it is Eurobeat, so I'm not sure what that is there. I'm not going to do that. But today, again, she is a miss here. In fact, actually, she's been quite a miss lately in some of the songs I've had to review by her. Why, though? Why? She is the third favourite vocalist for me, but why is she a miss here today? The song is good. It belongs in the series, yes, as opposed to Super Eurobeat volume, you insert your number. But nothing happens in it for me to dissect the song. That's all I can say. Yes, eyes can be sexy. Yes, they can be romantic. But I don't think I could be serenaded by this song. So if I wanted to be chatted up in the club and the guy was going to serenade me with a song, no. Just no. However, the series does really transport you to the last century, and if you dream long enough, you probably could be in those 1980s, early 1990s romantic music videos. That's all Maharaja is at the moment. It's just disco songs that you would dance to regardless if you were in the club or not. There's not really much else to dissect. But it's good. The atmosphere and the vibes and the aesthetic is good, and it's rich, so, that's why it gets heavily applauded by me. Track number 5, Sophie, Treat Me Right, extended mix, 2 stars out of 5. Elena Ferretti, Time Records, and hopefully we're trying not to go on about the same thing for the next couple of songs, but I can't guarantee that. Sophie has good songs. She's got good songs in Initial D, and the Initial D community like that. So why isn't she explored more? I'm sure you could use this song for your lonely racing nights as well, as opposed to Victim of Love from this track listing. For me, I've got nothing. This whole album is a big lump of consistent disco songs and nothing more for me. Maybe I should just say whether you can dance them or not, but then no, because I said you can dance to any of them regardless of the topic of the song, like the Gino one at the Star. I got nothing for any of these reviews. That's so bad, because they're just, it's one of those cases where you actually just do dancing or racing to the Eurobeat and regardless, and don't care about the vocals or the lyrics, because they're just Eurobeat. So it feels a lot more like that Brett Sinclair episode I did, where the majority of the songs I had nothing for them because they're just tracks I listen to in the background doing other stuff. I guess instead of me reviewing the songs, I'll probably just recommend what they can be used for. I don't know. I think the star rating of me saying whatever's on the screen right now is enough. I got nothing. Nothing at all. I do apologise. Track number 6, Queen of Time's Waste My Time, extended mix, 2 stars out of 5. Elena Ferretti, once again, 8BC. This one has Italo disco sounds in its intro, and I like it. The build-up of the melody's intro before we get into the soft bridge, you think it would be a Norma Sheffield kind of song, but no, it's not. And again, I'm sorry, I've nothing. How do I explain a song that is just a song and nothing else? Just a background track in my mind, if I need to do something. This video might as well be very pointless. Sorry, I'm just very lost right now. Maybe this one should have been treated like a vaporwave video, lol, where the music just plays and I write down stuff. But then even writing down stuff would be difficult. No, I mean for the vaporwave, we write down scenarios that are associated with said song. Yeah, if you do follow my channel on a regular basis and actually watch all the different kinds of videos I make. I feel really bad for reviewing this now when there's nothing to go on with. But let me know in the comments if you actually have any ideas on how to review a song that doesn't have anything worth reviewing in because you think a star rating is just enough. Like, what do I do? I don't know. There's nothing in this that makes me hate it or love it. It's just a song. Track number 7, though. King and Queen with King and Queen. Friday Night Virgin, 1 star out of 5. Eleanor Ferretti, once again, 8BC. This alias is a strange one to me. King and Queen. You think it'd be a duet or a band at least? But no. It's just one alias at a time. And they're all women. Like, seriously, what is even up with that? Because, like, I thought Digital Planet was a band when I first started listening to Eurobeat, because it sounds like a name for a band, but it's not. It's just Stefano Brandoni, or whatever his name is, himself, but it feels like a band. King and Queen just has female vocalists, and one female vocalist at a time. I generally thought it would be, Dave and Domino, or Dave and Karen, or Dave and Nuage, but it's not. It's just one female at a time. Something about Discogs as well. If you're familiar with the Eurobeat scene and you're not aware of Discogs just yet, that shit does blow your mind. And when I was first exposed to Discogs, yeah, my mind was blown. But I was also sort of right at the same time. But that's a story for another video, if anything. Either way, as much as the confusion happens, it's not one of my favourite aliases from the early days of Eurobeat. Yeah, this track appears on SEB Volume 18, which is, I think it's a non-stop mix, if anything, or maybe it's just an actual, extended versions. But the song is like, I think it talks about a king and queen, but it's just a queen singing about king and queen when really it should be a king and queen singing about a king and queen. But no, it's just queens. So you might as well just be like Queen 26 or something, which is a Delta alias. Nice to see an alias talk about itself, which is not unusual, but it is a rare moment in Eurobeat. I guess it's just not a favourite for me at all. I don't like this alias as it is, because as much as the confusion happens, it doesn't really make any sense. Gypsy and Queen, I think, would probably be a better alias to talk about at the moment. Track number 8, Domino, Forever Young, Forever Mix. 1 star out of 5. Forever Young by Overload, says script. Nah. You wish I was reviewing that over-the-top, overrated as fuck motherfucking song, but I'm not. I'm reviewing the one by Domino, not Overload, which came out years before. And like the one like Overload, and like the one by Overload, who also does Simbo and David Simon, I don't like this one by Domino. It's simple. I don't like her vocals. I just can't tolerate anything else about this song either in order to give it another star beyond 1 star. I think I'd probably take a break from my dancing. I suppose this is track 8 and I would have already danced to 7 songs before. Maybe I'd probably stop dancing after King and Queen as well. I'd probably get in a drink at the bar to rehydrate myself whilst waiting for the next song to come on. Sorry, not sorry. But Domino is not one of my favourite artists. at all. And I think I've expressed that quite vividly on this channel before, like Dave Rogers, if anything. But yeah, this is a break song, so everyone else can be dancing to this, but the shy guy isn't, that's for sure. Track number 9, Lou Grant, Funky Lady, extended mix, 2 stars out of 5. Yours truly, Gino, at Time Records. Funky, 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 funky. Now that I've had my drink, let's go back to the dancing with Gino. Whilst it's not the most funkiest grooving song in Eurobeat, titled said adjectives, it's the bare minimum regardless. And maybe I'll still be dancing to it. Because, I can't lie, I can't really get enough of Gino's vocals. Even if I'm not a really enjoyer of a lot of his songs. But it's hard not to, not enjoy him. What is he? The 4th favourite artist by me? As opposed to Maurizio, Fernando, Gianni, Gino, and then Giordano. You can see the pattern of names as well. In my opinion, if you really wanted a funky song titled with funky in it, I would check out Funky Child by Sandy B, which I believe is, I want to say Super Eurobeat Volume 39. I'll put the picture up on the screen anyways, by Fernando Benigni. There are some elements of Gino's song in SEB 26 in this. I'm not sure what track I'm referring to in 2020 in Volume 26. So I'll put it up on the screen because I don't know what the script is going on for. And there's some weird Japanese elements in the song as well. But unfortunately, as much as it is in, I'm going to be dancing to it, it's going to have to stay at 2 to 5 to me. I do apologise once again. I do a lot of apologising in my episodes if you haven't already noticed. Because I always feel bad when I give a low review. Because I do like Eurobeat, but there's just a lot of tracks that are just not really doing much at all. Track number 10, Valentina, Do You Know? 3 stars out of 5. Elena Ferretti once again, 8BC as per usual, 3 stars out of 5. It's a step up from the other songs that we have heard in this track listing, and it's a step up from Elena's songs from this track listing. So I might have a little bit more to talk about now. The vocals, the way the melody flows together with it, and all into one. It feels like I'm listening to Victim of Love again, but a female version. Wowzers, just wowzers. This is what you would call an underrated hidden gem within the Eurobeat community. Slow, passionate, romantic love, just what every human craves. Track number 11 by Gino himself, under his own name, not any alias. Hold the Line, Fashion Mix, 2 stars out of 5. 8BC. Hold the line for what though? A telephone? Maybe Gino will explain it later in the song, with its thumping Italo disco roots. Whilst it's not one of my favourites under his name personally, as opposed to Nobody Knows, Naked in the Night, and Stop the Time, of course I'm still going to enjoy it because of his vocals. And it's just another disco track. Though it's nice to see the males do soft disco songs in the Maharaja series. Although, and in my opinion also, Fernando is a better choice, and in my opinion has really thrived in this series. It makes a break for the fact that we've just been listening to Elena Ferretti for like 4 songs in a row or so. I can't think what other male vocalists are in this as opposed to Maurizio, Gianni, Fernando. If I do a bit of research before uploading this video, I'll probably put it on the screen as to who else has been here. Dave Rogers has also been in the Maharaja series. Well, it's probably not that interesting enough, but of course he's been in the Maharaja series. I don't think any of his songs are disco-like, especially Smoke on the Water, the cover song by Deep Purple, I want to say it was, or like Metallica or something along the lines. I know, I just released like a video, explaining that was a cover of, a non-Eurobeat song, but I can't remember the top of my head. Yeah, do a bit of research and then move on to the last song in our track listing. Track number 12 with Vanessa, Open Up Your Eyes. Extended mix, 2 stars out of 5. Clara Ramone, Time Records, 2 stars out of 5. Open Up Your Eyes. Why? Because there's a whole worldwide world out there that needs to be explored. Honestly, just listen to a good song that is rounding up the volume here. And yes, because it's Clara Ramone as well, just gotta get those playlists expanding. Gotta appreciate our artists a lot more. At least this wasn't anything similar to that My Little Pony song, Open Up Your Eyes, that was used in the movie. That was cringe. Yes, we have been looking at My Little Pony since reviewing Jesso's work under Eurobeat Brony, which really should be Eurobeat Pegasister. I think that's what the female fans are called. Picking up a lot of lingo here. Maybe I should just convert my channel to My Little Pony as opposed to Eurobeat. Don't know if it's an Aishu song, which is a term that's used also in Eurobeat. But yeah, it's a good song to round up the volume at least, and that's always important with the Shy Guy. We do end up talking about that. Is the last song the good song to be chosen for to round up the volume? We've got a good opening and closing track for this volume. So that adds a star to the overall rating, which we will now get on to. I think for me personally, I'd give this volume a 3 stars out of 5, which I know is the average rating for me reviewing a volume, an album, whatever for this channel. Simply because of the fact of it's an important part of Eurobeat history as opposed to, how Eurobeat developed from Italo disco. And not really much else to say. But other than the fact of, without the risk of repeating myself constantly, is the fact that this series is very distinctive from the Super Eurobeat series. If you were to be blindfolded, you could tell that this was Maharaja Night Disco Nights as opposed to your standard Super Eurobeat series. Even though I didn't really give much of a rating to this song, that's just what I want to emphasize on. The vibes, the aesthetics, the sort of nostalgia, if you were, alive during the times of the 1980s and 90s, this series is an important one to understand the history and to understand not just the history of Eurobeat even, actually, it's just, understand the history of where society, pop culture and that all were going in the 80s and 90s, regardless of what country it was, Italy, Japan, America, Great Britain, and so forth, Africa even. So, Volume 1 is not really a favourite of mine, as opposed to maybe 17, 20 and 22, I believe, are probably more of a hit, or are more of a hit than a miss for me. I have listened up to Volume 10, if anything, out of the 27, and I do believe anything after Volume 5 probably does get a little bit better. But Volume 5 is quite on the side of disco as opposed to, whatever usual Eurobeat sounds like. To be honest, not all the songs in Maharaja Night are disco-like. You've got one of Mega Energy Man in Volume, I don't know which one it is, called The Big One, which is under his alias Mr. Groove, and that is about, as you can tell, male genitalia. Nothing to do with disco. You've also got one called Big Hole Black Hole by Fernando Benini, which is probably under Sandy B or some sort. That's probably, I think, is about space, I want to say, like black holes and stuff. Again, nothing to do with disco, but it's the way that the music is created gives such a disco vibe then of course it's going to be the Maharaja Night as opposed to Super Eurobeat series. So yeah, it is quite an interesting series to delve into if you're looking for something that's not so, dancing, sort of like exciting, sort of extravagantic, like high energy attack stuff. I wouldn't say it's more the sort of like subtle Eurobeat as opposed to like the song I've discussed over like the past couple of episodes, preferably Asia Records works. But I probably maybe would lean towards this Aishu kind of thing. I really do kind of want to explore what that really means and what songs are in the Aishu genre, sub-label, subgenre style, whatever you want to call it. But overall, I do think it's really important, and I do think it should be looked into regardless of what your usual standard go-to of Eurobeat is. And with that being said, hopefully we should be getting one more video, our Super Euro special video out this month. If not, it might be December or possibly as late as January. We still got SEB 2025 to review and 2019 to review. But other than that, just stick around for the content to come.